Alright, Treasury Financial Manual, Volume 1, Part 2, Chapter 5000, Accounting and Reporting of Monetary Assets, Non-Operating Cash Items held by the U.S. Treasury Office. This chapter provides information for the Department of Treasury Office accounting with the reporting of certain non-cash assets. Example, the asset for the coin with the coinage metal with the help of the Bureau of the U.S. Mint Office of Gold Bullion Certificate coins held by the Federal Reserve Banks to display in reserve. Section 510 Authority Secretary Transfers Title 12 of 391 require the Federal Reserve Banks to act with the depository official agents for the U.S. government. And then basically there's some Title 12 U.S. Standard Code and Title 31 U.S. Standard Code to designate various financial instruction depository public money financial agents of the government to prescribe the regulations in connection with financial indigent responsibility. Title 31 U.S. Standard Code 5131 and 5313 take various action regarding settlement of the account of domestic coin and currency transactions. Section 5015 background purpose of the Treasury to designate several of its organizational facilities the depository handle public money with the transaction cannot be profitably other deposit to hold certain money assets, for instance, gold, silver, paper, currency with the coin that must be kept under the direct control of the Treasury Bureau of the officials for the issue of the regulation prescribed form provides operating procedure that makes official lead policy for determination for the proper maintenance for the balance of the Treasury general account official of the reserve to update the central accounting records of the receipt classification process each depository account report statement the federal agency reporting official serve the records of the basis of the Treasury report for the overall official status of the U.S. government to the President of the Congress and the public. Section 5020 of the definition of the term depository Treasury of the Federal Reserve Banks for their branch of the commercial banking institute of domestic, foreign, or territorial possession that are authorized to maintain account with the name of the Treasury to hold for the public money with the transaction gold for the Treasury owned bullion with the help of the Mint Office of Custodial Reserve of the Federal Reserve Bank, such as the Federal Reserve Bank of New York have gold and monetary reserve for daily display purpose of the standard value of the gold is $42.22 42.22 per fine of the per troy ounce as mandated in Public Law Number 93-110. Non-operating cash monetary assessed for the Treasury Office for the other deposit for the purpose of the authorized law for the prescribed the Secretary of the Treasury for the include the gold, silver, the unclassified counter cash, the unfit powder, paper, currency custody of the Treasury Office, the other miscellaneous assets, Treasury Office owned silver name held by the unclassified counter cash unreceivable from the General Service Administration surplus sales. Silver Treasury owned silver bullion held with the custodial serve of the Treasury with the general account. Treasury operating account with the maintained with the designated depository primary with the Federal Reserve Bank with a branch for the help of the daily public money transaction include with the deposit of taxes, custom duties, public debt, and receipts and the other revenues. U.S. Treasury Office with operating units of the Treasury handling transaction cannot be processed by any other type of the depository bureau engraving printing with a hold monetary asset that must be kept under the direct control of the Treasury. Unfit paper currency, mutilated paper currency received of the Bureau engraving and printing with the Federal Reserve Banks for the public replacement of the mutilated paper of the currency have the damage to the extent of the half or less of the original note remains. Its condition is in such value is questionable since such currency is taken out of circulation and is classified as non-operating cash. Or Section 5025 reporting entity that identified with the below of the provide report for the non-operating cash transaction official serve of the central accounting for the reporting purpose of this maintain the goals of the custodian of the reserves of the United States facility following location Denver, Colorado, Philadelphia, PA, San Francisco, California, West Point, New York, Fort Knox, Kentucky, U.S. Bullion Depository, Washington, D.C., Mint headquarters provides accountable reporting detailed monetary assets for the handling through the monthly of FS 5693 statement assessment liabilities. 502520 with the Office of the Currency and Standard with the BEP with the Bureau and engraving and printing of the prints currency with the replenishment for the current taken out with the circulation of the Bureau of the engraving and printing with the receipt of the mutilated paper, the currency, the paper of the citizen business, Federal Reserve Banks and report officials on the receipt of the destruction and replenishment of the currency of the Bureau of engraving and printing approved replacement of the unfit currency for the submitted for the members of the public and to issue for the restitution check with the remitter for the replacement unfit currency for the total of the Bureau of the engraving and printing and by the Federal Reserve Bank and account with the official service to do with the accounting of the TGA, Tennessee Government Authority. The Bureau of Engraving and Printing also maintains account of the uncirculated notes, paper currency. The mandate of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing with the restore of the balance of the account monthly with the base of the estimates amount of the U.S. notes destroyed. 50-25-30 Bureau of the Official Service of the Full Service of the Treasury with the selected currency for the deemed public debt with the issue of the time of the certain mediums of the exchange with where initiate the Treasury security include silver certificates, national bank notes, gold certificates, fractional currency, the Federal Reserve bank notes. Therefore, with the currency destroyed, they affect with a discrete amount of the public debt principal outstanding. The Bureau of Engraving and Printing of the Federal Reserve Bank destroy the Treasury security. Official service will charge the public debt principal outstanding account 20x0500. Alright, 50-25-4 with credit accounting branch. Financial Accounting Civil Division, Official Service of the Treasury with the balance control with the Reserve of the Gold Charge of the Federal Reserve Bank, Federal Reserve Board issues, redeems corresponding amount of the gold of the credit accounting branch for the immediately provides a letter of the Federal Reserve Bank, New York, to identify the certificate chain with the certificate credit accounting branch. Also provide the Federal Reserve Board of the Governors comply with the monthly statement of the gold of the gold certificate funds upon Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System summary of the monthly certificate activity. 50-25-50 with the cash control branch for the official service. The cash control branch serves as the focal point management accounting control over the Treasury operating capital monetary after the reporting, ensure the timely receipt, processing all depository reports, receive the annals for the central summary of the general ledger of the accounting balances, assist with the data accuracy, integrity, U.S. governmental official report. The cash control branch prepare for the relief of the cash report of the Treasury owned gold of the coin and currency outstanding and in circulation. The FRB and branches hold of the gold bullion coin certificate display for the numismatic purposes of chain of the Federal Reserve Bank's monetary assessing holdings report official services through the automated transcript system. 52-25-70 Federal Reserve Board. The Federal Reserve Board determines that provides the allocation amount with the denomination of the all Federal Reserve notes, civil certificates, U.S. notes of the derived destroyed by the Federal Reserve Board based on the allocation of the cash control branch. Notification of the Federal Reserve Bank for the Bureau and Engraving and Printing process related with the accounting with the effect of the currency of the removal of the reissue of the circulation. Treasuries incur the liability of the Federal Reserve Board when gold is monetized with the converted to face value of the Treasury gold holdings of value with acquired at 42.22.22 per fine troy ounce. The Federal Reserve Board, in effect for the authorized transfer of the cash and account with the Tennessee TGA with the gold certificate, that corresponding decree with the TGA is made with the gold certificate redeem. Federal Reserve Board also provides the cash control cash control branch with a monthly listing of the gold certificate from the Treasury list, which notify the date and amount of the gold purchase of the sales, so they must agree with the value of the gold certificate transaction proposed in the cash CAB credit account branch. As reported, purchase of the Senate sale of the Mint, Federal Reserve Board submit to the Financial Report Official Service report preparation, data review, and validation. Section 5030 reporting requirements. 503010 transfer, destruction, unit currency for the transaction, provide reporting procedure for the transfer, receipt with the destruction, replacement with the unit paper currency. Bureau and Engraving Printing Office of the Current Standard for the Federal Reserve Banks destroy the currency. 503010A the transaction A mutilated paper currency received with the Federal Reserve Bank. Federal Reserve Banks for forward a multi-paper currency with the Bureau and Engraving and Printing destruction. Federal Reserve Banks will also prepare the debit voucher relating the Bureau and Engraving and Printing ALC 2013-9002. Cash link 2 reported the debit voucher the daily transcript that sends the credit memorandum copy to the standard form 5515 along with mutilated currency. Bureau Engraving Printing after the receipt, debit voucher and mutilated currency. Bureau Engraving Printing report summary transaction amount with a monthly statement of the transaction as follows. Section 1, 281040 TC 61. Total amount confirmed unfit currency. Section 1, 28 12 27 TC 61. Total amount unconfirmed unfit currency. In section 3, line 3 amount with SF 1515 amount reported with the standard form 15515 do not agree with the multiplied currency received the Federal Reserve Bank. Bureau Engraving Printing context respective of the Federal Reserve Bank whether adjusting increase and decrease the original standard form 5515 amount. Alright, 503010B with the transaction B with the mutilated paper, the currency received from the public reimbursement of the Bureau and engraving the printing exam of the paper to note the receipt of the public and determine the customer of the entitled with the replacement with the currency preparers. Process stamp form 1166 of the voucher schedule the payment for the ALC 2013 9002 authorized check payment for the customer. Bureau engravement printer report for the total amount of the form 1166 of the payments confirmed with the paid with the official for the statement of the transaction 22.4 as follows. Section 128, 1040, TC 61. Section 2, increased lines 1 and 3. Section 5030, 10C, transaction C, mutilated paper currency of the Bureau, destroyed by Bureau and engraving printing. One day of the Bureau and engraving printing, the destroyed of the currency report of the amount, destroyed of the denomination only with the SPS, wherever the Federal Reserve Board, Richmond, upon receipt of the Bureau and engraving the printing with the SPS, Federal Reserve Branch, Bank, Federal Reserve Bank, Richmond, possibly stamp form 215, daily transaction of the Bureau engraving printing ALC 2013 9002 for the amount of the destroyed the store forwards confirmed a memorandum copy to stamp form 215 Bureau engraving printing amount stamp form 215 current destroyed as filed with the statement of the transaction 224 section 28 10.4 TC equals the amount of the stamp form 215 section 2 increased lines 2 and 3 section 3 increased lines 2 and 3. Bureau engraving printing an issue for the intra-government payment collection officials over the central accounting reporting system statement the difference for the all treasury security the destroy of the Bureau engraving printing on the statement of the transactions for all the section 128 1042C equals the intergovernmental purchase and collection amount. Section 2 increased lines 1 and 3 officials over the reported debts of the intergovernmental purchase and collection system. Billing statement transaction 224 and ALC 20550860 public debit principal accounted 20x0500 for the amount of treasury security destroyed. Alright, 503010D transaction D the use of the notes and civil service the redeem the destroyed by the Federal Reserve Bank. The cash control branch authorized by the Federal Reserve Branch Richmond to destroy the TGA with the amount with the U.S. note with the civil certificate to redeem the destroy with the Federal Reserve Bank. Upon the cash control branch for the administrative memo of the Federal Reserve Bank, Richmond proceeds with the stamp form 5515 with the debt voucher for the Federal Service. Visual Service of the ALC 2055 with 0860 with the amounts of the U.S. note with the certificates of the Federal Reserve Branch. Richmond included the two amounts of the daily transcript of the confirmed with the memorandum copy with respect of the stamp form 5515 with facial service. Alright, 503020 with the minute monetary asset transaction following transaction or guidelines minute reporting fiscal service actively related to the purchase of the coinage of metal for the establishing accountability minute coin the reporting transfer of the share of these assets additionally accounts prescribed 5035 of the mental allowing following account of the reporting monetary asset transaction fiscal service of 20612 of the standard minor coinage 20613 standard copper nickel cladded coinage for coins shipped of the cashier percentage is realized over the statement of the transaction 224 the minute charges the account 20x4159 amount of equivalent steerage calculation check steerage account 20612 13 difference between manufacturing cost value face value reports amount of the statement transaction 224 in column 2. Contacts, official service of the property supply section, property of the supply section, Bureau, official service of the Department of Treasury Bureau, official service of financial accounting, official accounting operations. And that was Chapter 5000, Accounting Reporting Monetary Assets on Operating Cash held by the U.S. Treasury offices.